Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Prep Talk, the best source of quality news. I'm your host, Evan Bean.
And I'm your other host, Robert Dolcetti.
Last week, the Eagles won a stunning victory over the Patriots, scoring 41-33. It was a surprising upset, considering it is their first Super Bowl they have ever won.
That's got to hurt the Patriots. At least they have 5 past wins under their belts. What happened in the cities?
Well, I know Boston and Philadelphia have both seen a lot of riots and parades recently. However, Boston is now completely leveled.
Yep, leveled to the ground. In other news, the Dow dropped something like 1,100 points Monday. This was one of the worst hits the stock market has ever taken in a single day. But don't worry too much, though. The Dow is just the cumulative worth of 30 corporations in the U.S. Just because those corporations are taking some temporary losses doesn't mean it's the end of the world. At least it means we aren't dealing with something stupid like the tulip panic of the 1640s. Or are we?
Good question. In a mix of Catholic and national news, this past week Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor for over 8 hours defending DACA, in which she brought up her faith, the Catholic faith, and several self-accounts from Dreamers, as they are called. In addition, the Catholic Church has started a new war on human trafficking and abuse after a series of scandals in the sports, media, and other outlets throughout the world. They announced on February 7th that we will have a National Day of Prayer.
Interestingly enough, we had the opportunity to get quite a curious guest. Say hello to the Arrupe Bat.
That's quite right. Last week, if you didn't know already, a bat was found in Arrupe Hall, causing quite the conundrum in Arrupe Halls, and here he is today to speak with us. So we know you as the Arrupe Bat, but what is your real name?
Batman.
You're Batman?
Yes.
Well, how long have you been around here, Batman?
20 years.
20 years, in prep?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so you're like one of the oldest faculty members on campus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now that you've been discovered, Bat, what are you going to do?
Probably gonna find a new home.
Retire?
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's the scoop. On a more serious note, tomorrow we will be celebrating Ash Wednesday, an ancient Catholic tradition. So those of you who are Catholic are encouraged to celebrate, while those who are not are encouraged to remain reverent.
Now for a more technical segment on the Robotics Club. Supervisor Mr. Dotolo weighs in.
Well, robotics is it's an interesting club because there's a national competition. It's actually a global competition that takes place every year. And so essentially in early fall, the club gets sort of the annual challenge, like what's this year's competition going to be like? And you know, it's usually some format where every team has to come up with a robot design to meet certain challenges, basically kind of score points in a variety of ways. And so we don't know that until, like I said, early fall, I guess. And then from fall until mid to late winter, we're busy trying to come up with a robot plan, design it, program it, and build it to compete in a competition, trying to score points according to the annual challenge. We have our own space, which is terrific, right next to the guidance suite, so it's A102. We're always looking for new folks to come on board, and you know, students should know that it's a pretty flexible club, meaning we have some students who are there every time we meet and they stay for 2.5 or 3 hours and they really get their hands dirty. We have other students who have limited time and they just come in for, you know, half an hour once a week to see what's going on. So in that way, you know, I hope a lot of students are able to come who want to come, right? Not feel like they don't belong. Absolutely, anyone belongs. Come and meet me. I'm up here in X405. You could shoot me an email, and I could basically put you on the Schoology group to get updates in terms of when we're meeting and what's on the schedule coming up.
In school sports, over February break, alumni will be coming back to the preparatory for an alumni hockey game. It is encouraged that students come to see previous hockey players and watch them compete against each other.
Also worthy of note is the upcoming Winter Olympics. The Winter Olympics start on February the 9th and go to February the 25th. The interesting thing about these Olympics, though, is that they're being held in South Korea, which has resulted in the North Koreans and the South Koreans agreeing to participate under the same flag for the first time since pretty much ever. It's definitely worth a watch all the same anyway.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to tell you much about Godspell this year, which is the prep play for the spring. However, we can tell you that the play is Godspell.
And now for the news from Washington. The Senate has finally decided on a long-term budget deal for this year. In case you don't know, for a while the Democrats and the Republicans have been fighting over the budget deal, what to finance, what not to finance, that sort of thing. Gridlock in Washington is a real problem, so it's good that they've finally figured this sort of thing out so that they can go back to doing more important things, like fixing DACA and infrastructure.
Now over to our segment on the weather. Simon Says.
And I'm here with the 5-day weather forecast. Remember, it's February, it's cold out, we live in New England, it's just miserable. Here you go.
And that's the weather, I guess.
This episode has been brought to you by Tide Pods. They're not edible. Trust me, I've tried.
For the rest of you, this has been Prep Talk! War against abuse and human trafficking. That is
That's because he's taking forever.
be on their best behavior.
What?
Yes.
How about you say like mostly
Fine.
what's actually there?
Fine.
Like you don't have to like completely improvise everything.
Fine.
And even if you're going to do that, improvise the right thing.
Alright,
Got him.
okay.
That's funny. That's funny, right?
No, ignore him.